How to get started in rent to rent with little money. Hello, my name's Mark Fitzgerald and it's great to have you joining me here today. So I get asked this question all the time. Mark, how can I get started in rent to rent with no or little money? Well, let me just say, when you start a business, when you start doing anything, you will need some working capital. You will need some funds. But I'm going to share with you in this video how you can get started with very, very little money and start building a successful rent-to-rent business. So first and foremost, a very easy way to make sure that you're keeping the costs down is looking for properties that are in good condition. Now, you'll have probably heard a lot of people saying you get hold of a rundown property, you add value to the property, i.e. you maybe give it a refurbishment, you put some money into the property, and then after you've paid yourself back, you start making profit. That is a very old way of doing rent to rent, and I don't recommend that at all. That is not how I have ever done it, and that's not how I teach my students how to do it as well on the Rent to Rent Business Builder. We want to be looking for properties that are in good condition, that are ready to rock and roll. Properties that we can basically just step in and start to manage, start to control, and start to make profit from. So a lot of people say to me, well, how or why would an agent or a landlord want to work with you? Well, I look for HMO properties when I'm doing the HMO strategy. And the HMO strategy is houses of multiple occupation. It is where the properties are rented out individually by the rooms. And what I do is I look for good properties, but I look for landlords who are potentially struggling. Now, they may not be struggling with voids, okay? Everybody says, well, what happens if they've got no voids? I've taken on properties that are fully tenanted before. There's all sorts of different reasons why a landlord or an agent would want to work with you, but you have to find out why they've called you, why they're talking to you in the first place. So sometimes it will be because the property is a bit run down. And if you can cost effectively give it a bit of an uplift, then that can really help you. I don't look to do that. I would look more at the investor or the landlord to put the money in themselves, and then I'll maintain it to that level. But there are a lot of landlords out there that just can't find a decent letting agent to manage the properties for them, or are maybe self-managing and are just growing tired of it. In which case then those properties still might be in good condition, but you can go in there, you can remove the hassle completely from them, and you can take the properties on, and it's a win-win for everybody. But likewise, if you do get hold of a property that's going to cost you a few quid to give it an uplift, to maybe add furniture, give it a lick of paint and things like that, then you can look to do joint ventures with people. There's potentially people, maybe even people that you know that have a few £1,000s laying around that potentially you could borrow that money from them or loan it from them, in the sense that you give them their money back through the profits that you make month on month. Once you've paid them back, you could give them a 10% return on their money, so some extra money on top. And happy days. Once they're paid back, you're still able to do this. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to do these sort of loans, but you have to make sure that when you're doing the deals, your numbers are correct. No point in just trying to grab any old deal and not getting the numbers right, so you don't actually make any profit. If you're paying too much guaranteed rent, or your utilities have shot up and are going through the roof, your profits could go out the window. So this is something that I can help you with, and I help my students with as well, because you have to get this right. I've made a few mistakes myself along the way, which is why I now show others how not to make these mistakes. And of course, if your numbers are correct and that a landlord's happy with what you're proposing, you know that you're going to make this profit. It's a win-win. Everybody will be really happy. You'll both be doing a fantastic job in working together to give your clients, your tenants, a nice place to live. Now, if you're looking at doing serviced accommodation, you probably will have to put some money into the property if you're doing rent to rent. But likewise on that, you could just look at doing either a JV with the landlord, and we show people how to do that on the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder, or you could even manage it on serviced accommodation terms, where they supply the property ready to rock and roll, you supply the short-term rental management, and that can be very profitable for both parties as well. So People often think, well, I need startup money. I need a couple of grand, or I need £10,000 to get started. You really don't. The most I've ever spent on a rent-to-rent deal is £900, and that was for some carpets and some painting. You don't need massive amounts of money the way that I can show you how to do these deals and how to negotiate these deals. If you do have a bit of money behind you, it can make the whole process a lot better. But rent to rent is a cash flowing strategy, a strategy in which you need to make sure that you're not spending loads and loads of money up front, because you're not making money until you've paid yourself back. So in theory, you're working for nothing. That is not a win-win. That is not a good deal. Head over to thepropertyunleashed.com, where we have a free ebook on rent to rent and the 10 steps and systems of how to make sure that you're doing good rent to rent deals. We have a deal analyzing spreadsheet that you can download and have for yourself at thepropertyunleashed.com website. So download that, stack deals, start practicing, start working out your numbers, so that when you go out there and you speak to agents and you speak to landlords, you know what your numbers should be, you know what your profit should be, and then you can really have a good base foundation to get out there and do it. And of course, if you're into serviced accommodation, we have a serviced accommodation ebook there. And again, that's 10 steps in serviced accommodation of how to start from the beginning, build and systemize a profitable serviced accommodation business. I also have a rent to rent masterclass, free. I say that again, it's free. So you can get yourself over there, go through the masterclass, get a feel for rent to rent, see if it's what you want to be doing. If it is and you want to take it further, of course, we have the rent to rent business builder training program where my students are getting deals every week. There's loads of deals out there at the moment. And we have the ultimate serviced accommodation business builder as well for people that want to just really specialize in serviced accommodation. Both of those are investments into your future. You see, they're investments in the sense that once you've learned this stuff, nobody can take it away from you. The return on it is infinite. So you can't really say a lot fairer than that. So likewise, letting agents are a fantastic source of finding good deals. You want to be looking for the good agents, the good stock, and seeing if you can work with them. Now, predominantly, if they are a buy-to-let, a single-let agent, and you're looking for HMOs, it's great to go in there and say that you're an HMO specialist and you can help them by managing the HMOs on their behalf. They still get their fee, the landlord gets paid, everyone wins. And if you're doing serviced accommodation as well, you've got potentially some sticky properties that maybe the rents are too high because the interest rates have gone up and the landlords cannot afford to have the rents any lower than what they're offering. You may be able to go in there, do short-term rental with these properties, i.e. serviced accommodation. Of course, you can pay a bit more rent to that landlord because your profits, as long as you've done your homework, should be more themselves. So don't get into a negative mindset or a limiting belief that you have to have stacks of cash to start in rent to rent. What I would say is, first and foremost, as much as you can, and you are by watching this, invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, spend the time to find out how you can do these deals, how and what you need to say, the scripts that you need. Again, I can help you with all of that. I can tell you exactly on a script what to say to agents, what to say to landlords, and of course what not to say as well. In bespoken, so to speak, hand-holding and group coaching as well. But I'm digressing again. But realistically, you've got to invest in your own knowledge, know what to say. You can't just wing it. You'll be found out, you'll do bad deals, and that's not what we want. Make sure, and I always say this, you are the property professional in your business. And of course, that just means following this channel, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me, and I'll help you every which way I can. We do a lot of posts on social media. I put in a lot of information out there. So really try and piece this all together. And if you want the roadmap, then we can give you the roadmap. But if not, piece it all together and make sure you know what you're doing, because it will save you a fortune in the long run. And of course, if you are looking to do a rent-to-rent deal, and it is going to cost you a bit of money, maybe for some furniture, maybe for an uplift of the property, don't be afraid to invest in your business. If you need to get a loan, a small loan just to get you started, then do it. If you can do it on a credit card, interest-free credit card, then maybe you can do it. But just make sure those deals are good deals. Now, I'm not telling anybody here to go out there and get into debt to start a property business, but you've got to do what you've got to do to get started. All right? When I got started, I got stuck in, I was determined not to fail. I didn't have stacks of cash. That's why I looked for the best properties I could find that didn't take a massive amount of work to start cash flowing. Okay, I saw a lot of rundown old properties that I could have took on, but I didn't. Why? Because I was looking for the better properties, and that's what my students do as well. If you go back and look at any of my social media posts, Instagram or Facebook, you'll see posts that I put on from students and some of their properties. They're lovely. They are just walk straight into these properties, ready to go, cash flowing straight away, and that's what you want to be doing. So don't believe all the hype that you have to spend a fortune on things. Don't believe that you have to take on grotty properties, and also don't have that limiting belief that you can't even ask the landlords to invest in their own properties to make sure that you and them can do a great deal. And all I do is basically say, if I take your property on and it's at this level, you spend a bit of money to put it at a better level, I'll maintain it to that level for the next 5 years. So your asset is looked after as if it's my own, and when you get your property back, if you want your property back at the end of the term, it's in. If not, the same standard that you gave it to me, but it'll probably be even better. I hope this video's helped you. I hope it helps you to understand that you do not have to have limiting beliefs when it comes to money. You do not need truckloads of cash. What you really need to do is invest in yourself, invest in your own knowledge so that you know what a good deal is, how to structure a good deal, and how to make sure you can get out there and find the best people to work with. Listen, if I can help you in any way, shape or form, feel free to reach out to us. Visit thepropertyunleashed.com, reach out to me on social media, feel free to message me on Facebook or on Instagram, and just give us a follow and a like. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it with whoever you think needs to know, or just share it in general, share the love. Tag me into any posts that you're going to do on social media, and I'll show you some love as well, because what goes around comes around in life. You take care, and I look forward to you joining me in the next episode. Bye for now.